Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. What's up? How y'all doing? Good to see y'all. Hey, Chaos Smoothies. Is that you at the top of our list? What's up? How you doing? Yo, it is so good to see y'all back here, especially after such an amazing event last night. Yo, if y'all thought last night was powerful, wait till y'all see what we got today. We talking like next level, teach you how to do that stuff. Yo, heartbeats, partners, friends. I really want to officially welcome you to our first ever virtual masterclass hosted by our friends at Ghetto Film School in partnership with our teams at Living Classrooms. Shout out GFS, shout out Living Classrooms. If you attended our film event last night, then you already know what type of heat to expect and understand that today is an extension of that experience. The goal is to get you going. You guys are growing young professionals, and we want to get you as close to the industry as possible by introducing you to experts in the field, introducing you to their work, and then teaching you the skills needed to help you along your own personal and professional journeys. This session right here, y'all, this session is going to be all me. We talking straight fire. So have your notepads ready, have all your questions on deck. Be prepared to take whatever you learned today out into the real world and actually do something with it. What we do now, it doesn't matter if you don't do anything with it. So I'm challenging all of you guys to do something with the jewels that you're going to get today. And y'all know how we do. One of the major goals is to give everybody an opportunity to be successful, give everybody an opportunity to be able to be connected. So I'm challenging everybody that's on this live right now to get at least one other person to join. And I don't mean just anybody. Y'all already know. No riffraff, no broke bum energy. I'm talking about young people who might find value in this situation and young people who are going to also be able to add value to this situation. The more that we can build, then the more opportunities like this that we'll be able to share. So today, again, you guys are going to meet some amazing people, but I like to start by reintroducing y'all to one of our faves, one of my personal faves. Y'all remember my BFF from last night, Miss Sharice. She's the Chief Strategy and Partnership Officer, AKA she doing it all at the Ghetto Film School. Miss Sharice Bullock Bailey. We about to get her on. Hey, I see your comments. What's up, Naeem? Hey, King Core from the barbershop. I know that's right. Yo, what's up, Lene? Hey, Anil. What's up, Shannon, Marta General? Miss Sharice!
Hello, Miss Joni. Good morning.
What's up?
Dude, how are you?
Yo, I,
Wonderful.
I still got chills from last night, like real goosebumps under my hoodie.
Absolutely. I just feel so full, so just filled up with inspiration. We got so much out of last night. The storytellers, the young, beautiful film enthusiasts in Baltimore, all the heartbeats, the living classroom young people, the chat was everything. I just couldn't stop thinking about the amazing questions, the connections, just the inspiration that was going back and forth between everyone who was in that intimate space. And wow, those films were everything. I
Yo,
mean, I'm with you. I'm a big short film enthusiast now, and always, those filmmakers came through, and the film participants, they
yeah,
shared everything.
yo.
They left it
Everybody was
all
amazing.
on the screen, right? I mean,
Right? All you know who my new hero is?
yes. Oh,
Smirty.
oh,
Smirty
yes.
and Nico. They both carved a small piece of my heart out and took it with them. Superman Bruce is already a given. Him and I speak the same language, but like Nico and Smirty, like I was just like, oh,
You can see the directors at work and the powerful vision of holding space. You know, I walked away with all the young people in the room, including Layla and Ajay, as just my superstar
yes.
heroes now and forever, because the wisdom that was
Ooh,
shared across all of the young people who were there last night, you know, recognizing that their voice, their stories, that's the future. And that's what we're here to center today, right?
yes.
I mean, this is really an extraordinary opportunity. I have to say, Miss Joni, I mean, we're like Batman and Robin, right? I mean, well, look, we are here because of all of the partnership and all of the amazing just inspiration that we've gotten from the young people themselves. Let's be clear. GFS, we are a storytelling organization. We are in New York, LA, London, but our heart is in Baltimore
Oh,
all weekend long and going forward, because your stories and your passion and your commitment have just been an inspiration. I have to give a major shout out to Mr. Chaz Ackley and to Christina over at Living Classrooms. You know, a couple years ago, Miss Joni, I actually got to visit the UA house. I got to walk
wow.
the classrooms and the studios of Living Classrooms. And I, in particular, went into Miss Christina's studio, her music studio, and saw all of the young people just so focused and so inspired
Wow.
in making content. And then, of course, I got a chance to visit you and the Heartbeats. And I mean, I'm a heartbeat forever now. Um, because
Yes.
listen, Heart Smiles, you all are front and center. The passion is there, the creativity is there, and what is so powerful with what we do at GFS, it is youth driven and youth centered. So when you shared Beats in his amazing series where he's teaching storytelling and young people are sharing their stories and getting better together, that's what this day is about, right? It's about sharing what we know. It's about bringing all of the partners to the table, because we can only go farther together, right? We need Bloomberg, we need Tribeca, we need Living Classrooms, we need every single one of the heartbeats at Heart Smiles. And GFS today, we're stepping into our seat at the table with two amazing instructors who are from Baltimore, DMV. We did not have to go far to find industry experts who've been working with the GFS team throughout the past year to bring virtual programming, amazing teaching, and just lessons learned from being young people building their career in the industry and now sharing what they know and actually being here to listen and learn from young people as well. You know, this is all inspired by the strength that's already been exhibited by the young creators in Baltimore. The amazing music, the content that you've been making, the programs that you and Living Classrooms, Heart Smiles have shared over the years. We want to make a bridge together between music and film. And so
Yes.
that was really the inspiration behind this 2-day event, right? Let's get inspired with those amazing films. And then let's dig in deep inside. And just like Smirti said, right? Use your voice. We all have a voice and we all have a story. And today we're going to get some skills. We're going to meet some industry experts who are right here in Baltimore. So we can get
Yes.
started. I mean, I'm excited. I mean,
Let's do it. Let us do it. You set it up perfectly.
yeah,
I agree with Ma the General in the chat. He says super blessed. That's my sentiment right now. Let's go ahead. Let's get Kia on here. Miss Kia, are you going to introduce Miss Kia or
I
what?
will. You know what? It's Miss Kia is GFS family through and through. I had the honor of working with Miss Kia on her amazing series called Producing the Dream, where she's working with HBCUs, breakthrough artists, young people all around the country to enrich their production skills. And so Miss Kia is an incredible filmmaker and producer. There you go, Miss Kia. How are you?
Hi,
Welcome. Come on in.
Hey, Miss Kia.
Hey,
Yeah.
Miss Tony. Hi, Heartbeats and everybody on today.
Such a pleasure. I was just about to say, you know, I can get very long-winded when it comes to Miss Kia because you have come into the GFS family and share so much around virtual production, bringing communities together, but more importantly, it's the power of producing and, in your own words, producing the dream and sharing your story of becoming an award-winning producer, making feature films professionally, but always having your heart in the community and working as an educator and bringing young people right along this journey. And so, you know, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce Ms. Kia Freeman, who's also going to share with you her story, as well as these amazing producing skills to help you all, to help us all tell better stories.
Yes, well, thank you, Cherise, and thank you, Miss Joni at Heart Smiles Living Classrooms and the Bloomberg Foundation. You know, I'm so thankful to be here on this Saturday, you know, to just speak to young people. As Miss Cherise said, I am passionate about sharing my story with young people because my story really started in New York, where I grew up. I was 13 years old, and I was introduced to a television program through one of our youth bureaus. So like many of you, I started at a very young age with the idea of what I wanted to do. And so, you know, starting that young, they put me in front of the television, in front of the camera. And I used to host a TV show locally. And I realized that I really enjoyed what everybody was doing behind the scenes, you know, kind of just directing and a little bit bossy behind the scenes, handling everything. So the following year, I decided I wanted to be a technical director and be a producer for the show. And so what that meant for me was that at 14 years old, I was in charge of reaching out to community activists and community leaders and other young people in the community that were doing things because this was a community-based show. So I had to go forward and pull together all of the details, all of the elements, and gather up everyone that was needed and necessary for this program. So, you know, at 14 years old, I was the leader of this television show that came on every week. And it was a lot of pressure, but what it taught me was that, you know, this is something that I actually really enjoyed. So from that point forward, I continued to take electives in high school that were television production and went on to go to Delaware State University, which is a HBCU, historically Black college and university, and studied mass communications television production, which, by the way, Delaware State is not very far from, you know, Baltimore. A lot of my colleagues and friends now moving forward also are at Morgan State University. So, you know, being very involved with the community and working with young people has been super important to me. Fast forward to 2015, well, 2014. Well, let me go a little bit in between that. Let me not fast forward from college to 2015. But after graduating from college, I moved on to go back to New York, and I used to work on major music video productions. That was my you know, passion to work in the music videos. So I worked on music videos from Jay-Z to Mary J. Blige to Pharrell to Noriega, you name it. I was doing tons of music videos, doing tons of commercials for basketball corporations and different companies, and working on different film sets. At the time, I was juggling between working in my field and being a waitress on the side. So one thing I always share with young people is sometimes you have to get out there and get the experience that is going to be valuable in the long run. You may not get paid a lot of money, but you're going to make connections and you're going to be able to use that experience in the long run to make a lot of money. So in the meantime, you might have to balance and hustle, which I'm sure a lot of you have that hustling spirit, you know, to make sure you could balance doing what you love to do and also figuring out how to kind of pay those bills that you need to pay on the side as well. After, hustling in New York and grinding and doing everything really hard to make it happen, I then decided to move to Washington, D.C. Hey, DC, which is not far from Baltimore, as you know. And I set up in DC. I always had the mentality of being an entrepreneur with production. So from there, I decided to do a production company. And it started off where the summer that I decided to do productions, I happened to know like 6 couples getting married. So I said, hey, I'll do your wedding videos. They didn't have anybody lined up to do their wedding videos. So they decided to, bring me on. I was like, give me $200, give me whatever you got. It doesn't matter because you weren't planning to have it recorded and I'll do your wedding videos. So that gave me an opportunity to like start understanding how to communicate with clients, to find out what their needs are, how to create contracts, because I created, legal agreements with my friends, how to set up a crew and have them, all in the space of where my crew was there and lined up to be able to do what I needed them to do as far as the second and third camera, and then how to scout a location and so forth. So in most cases, nobody is super excited. I mean, sometimes you might be excited about a wedding, but you're looking to do a feature film. But I'm connecting the dots to let you know that in between that time that you're building and doing certain things, you may be able to take experiences and apply it to the feature film industry and the feature film opportunity that comes down the line. So I was able to do all these weddings, make money, because eventually after I did my friends' weddings, they were good. The word started to spread. I started to make a bunch of money from other people that I didn't know. And from there, being in Washington, D.C., I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to go ahead and start doing other types of contracts. And I started to work with organizations like Heart Smiles, not particularly Heart Smiles, but it was the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Washington, where I had a contract with them for 10 years, doing commercials and public service announcements for them, whether it was teen pregnancy prevention or, mental health, awareness and recognition, other health topics that we covered, where the young people contributed to the ideas and came up with these particular public service announcements. So it was really interesting and really fun to navigate through the world of Washington, D.C., which is very political, nonprofit based, and lots of organizations. Now, fast forward to 2014. I finally got a chance to do, an opportunity where I was able to now take all of the skills that I learned over the years from 13 through college, through graduating from college, and all different types of projects to now produce my first feature film. And I will tell you, in the world of feature films, it's not quite often that you can produce your first film and it goes somewhere. Sometimes it may sit on a shelf, or, it goes through a different circuit, but it may not actually get seen to the masses. So I am grateful and thankful that with my opportunity, we were able to get our first film on BET. So yes, thank you. And the first film is called Secrets. And that film, we were able to shoot in Washington, D.C. We had the support of the community in Washington, D.C. to shoot there. And we had a really decent budget to get it done. And when I tell you, I learned so much through that first experience. It was, nights where we were up and running for 18 hours. It was nights where I was ready to go to sleep, but I had so much energy because we just wanted to push through. And we worked on that production for 16 days. We did have a couple of days where we took breaks in between, but I was the lead producer on that production. And then the second film I produced, which just came out actually this July on BET as well, starring rapper Little Mama and rapper Jim Jones and Elise Neal, to name a few. That came out again on BET, and that's called All In. So you could check that out. And then the third film is called Sinners Wanted, that I produced. And that one came out on TV One this April. And so Sinners Wanted is like a faith-based feature film about the church and the opportunities that, you know, take place in the church, and creating a space for unconditional love with the particular characters. So we'll try to share those links with you all so you can see the trailers to those particular projects. But all three of those productions gave me an opportunity to understand from beginning of conception all the way to the end of distribution, which is where you want to take your project at some point. I love what I saw last night as far as the short films that were on. They were beautiful, very well done. They spoke, you know, to the audience. And what I love about it is that they went through the circuit of the film festivals. My films actually went through film festivals as well. And so I, you know, even heard the representative from Tribeca explain, you know, Ryan Coogler taking his film through Tribeca film festivals, and now we see where he is with Black Panther. So I think it's great for you all as young people to see just the process that takes place, because in order for my first film to be seen and placed on BET, we went to ABFF, which is the African Black Film Festival, and we were screened there. And once we were screened there, it was the opportunity for BET to see that they wanted to pick up the film. So now we get to a place where I need to share with you all just a little bit of, you know, the details in the process so you can learn and understand even more. I don't know what level where everybody is. I'm sure you guys may be able to teach me some things for sure. But I'm gonna just share a little bit of knowledge about the process and what I do as a producer to just give you some background of what that looks like. I do believe we have my assistant on, Ms. Joni. Okay, good. So
yes, and I'm about to fade off into the background and let y'all do this thing.
Well, no, that is good. That is good. So I have my assistant on. She's gonna stay in the background. She's like my Wizard of Oz. She's hitting the buttons. She's my extra eyes and ears and hands to just pull up our PowerPoint presentation. But her name is Azira. And I just want to tell you a little bit about Azira before we bring up the PowerPoint. I met Azira while I was doing the Sinners Wanted faith-based film. By the way, all three of the films were shot in Washington, D.C. So, you know, when people think you have to leave and go to LA or go to Georgia or New York, there's a lot happening between Baltimore for sure and Washington, D.C. Like there's so much production happening. So you're in a good space. Of course, if you can venture out to LA and all those other places, go for it, but just know your home area, there's a lot of production happening. But to give you some background about Azira, she's a recent graduate from Howard University, and she interned with me on the Sinners Wanted film, which was in 2017. So as you can see, 3 years later, she was a college student at the time, and now I always hire her when I can for anything that I'm doing, because she has shown me like a certain level of dedication, knowledge. And when I tell you I learn from this young lady, every time she speaks, I'm learning something new. So, you know, it's important for you all to find that mentor, opportunities to intern, because you never know how you'll continue to stay connected. I just know if I become a billionaire, Azira is coming with me and we're gonna make that money together, okay? So what we could do is let's try to pull up on the screen share the first slide from our PowerPoint, Azira. Let me see. And while Azira is pulling that up, we'll do the screen share. I can just talk a little bit more, you know, about just what it means to be a producer. So we're gonna pull that up. Perfect. We see producing the dream. As Ms. Cherie said, that is just what I believe. I believe that as producers, we are, and you can go to the next slide, Azira, we are dream makers. And so as far as like dream makers, when someone has an idea of a production and they have an idea of a script that they're pulling together, they're gonna need an individual to pull all of those elements together. For me personally, I'm able to operate kind of with my business brain and my creative brain. So if you find yourself in that space where you love being creative, but you also understand how to be organized and those necessary elements that are needed to pull a production together, and you're able to lead a group, you can bring those two skills together and be the dream maker. So I say all that to say, a lot of times when it comes to, being the producer, that's who we are. We bring those ideas together, we bring the team together, and a little bit about what we do is that we start off with our plan, and we pull the elements together of what's necessary. So let me just take a look at this real quick. And okay, good. I can pull it up and see it a little bit better now. Okay, so now we go in, and number one that's important is we build a strong team. I think it's really important, and it's great that you guys at Heart Smiles now are working with other young people that are passionate about producing, whether it's music or film. I saw how all the comments in the chat room yesterday, you all were excited and impacted by what you saw with the short film. So with that being said, you can pull that strong team together of other young people and your peers to make something happen. Number two, knowledge is key. So the more you experience, the more you go out here and do these types of things with productions, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to learn from those mistakes. In addition, like I said, you're going to attach yourself to a mentor, and you're going to do internships so that you can get more knowledge and share that knowledge through your production. So some of the things that we do once we build a team and we have the knowledge, what we do is we bring together everything that's needed for the first phase, which is pre-production. Some of you all may already know what pre-production is and you've done it, but pre-production to me, especially as a producer, is one of the most important roles that we have. What we do in the pre-production phase is we learn all about the actual project. So let's say we have a script, we take that script and we break it down. We go through the script and we highlight with different highlight colors of the characters, of the locations, of the props, of the picture cars. We call those picture cars. So if you see someone riding in an old classic Mustang, that's considered a picture car, or any car that they're driving, any vehicle is considered a picture car. We go through the script and we break down all of the various elements, and you'll find that there's tons and different categories of what's needed to go into the production. So we understand that as a producer, because as a producer, we're juggling two main things. Number one, budget, and number two, schedule. We are the ones that drive that lead that, and try to make sure that we stay on schedule and stay within our budget. So you have to understand the script and break it down in such a way that you understand what the elements are within that script. So for example, if I'm reading a script, and I'm just going to throw a number out there, I have a budget of 500,000 and I'm reading a script, but the way the script reads is $1.5 million. Then I'm going to bring that back to the writer and back to the team and say, listen, we need to eliminate 10 locations. We need to cut back on 7 of these lead characters. We need to cut down on the number of days that it's going to take to complete this script. And let's say the script came to me at 120 pages. As I go through it, I'm going to say we need to bring this script down to 90 pages, because we find out that 90 pages, we can shoot those 90 pages within 16 to 20 days versus trying to shoot 120 pages in 25 to 30 days. We don't have the budget to do it or the schedule. So during pre-production, you break everything down and you understand what all the aspects are for that particular production. Then we go into scouting different locations. That's one of my favorite elements and components of a producer, is that we're able to scout locations and see, you know, what goes into needed to make that particular house or to pick out a particular neighborhood. And that's where my creative brain comes in as a producer. I love seeing what we can pull together for those different locations. And then we arrange now the rest of the team. Like when we start off, we might find that we have our writer, our producer, but now we're gonna go into arranging the rest of the team, such as like our directors. We're gonna go into picking out the art director, and we're going to select our music composers that might be involved in the very beginning to understand many elements about the production. We're going to go into selecting our director of photography, which you're going to meet one later, Jamar Jones. And so we pull all of the pieces together, and we go into now where we have organized the details down to a place of eliminating as much error as possible. So as you see, you know, going into what I talk about as a producer, as a dream maker, you deal with ups and downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'll come in, back to that and talk a little bit more. But after pre-production, we go into the production phase. And Azira, you can scroll to the next, one and keep going to the next one. Okay, all right. So we go into our production phase. And in our production phase, you'll find that, like I said, these are some of the people that we're gonna need in our production phase, our different department heads, the term like above the line, below the line, and what does that mean? So I won't go into super detail about it, but we have our production designer. So those of you that are into, you know, art and enjoy interior design, or just enjoy all the different aspects of what is needed to be shown on the screen, that person is very key and important. And it's a job that it really is to execute the ideas of what the director has. And they are the ones that make it happen for what you see on the screen. Then you have, of course, have your director of photography. The director of photography, that individual is the one that operates the camera, or they lead the camera operators in the different team of the lighting department, the gaffers, and the chief lighting technicians. The next individual that's important for production especially is your location manager. That individual is overseeing the locations and making sure that we're safe on those locations, that the locations are at the end of the day taken care of. So that's a great place, I would say, for a lot of people to kind of start in the industry, is to get some experience, you know, interning with location departments, because the location departments are very involved with where we film, obviously, but what happens on the day of the film, as far as, you know, where are the cast going to be held, where are the holding rooms for the cast, where's the food going to be placed in the different location of where the food will be placed on that location. Again, the safety, do we need security guards on that location? They make sure that the location maintains and is clean when we're done with it, that we don't break anything, and that we're not, you know, tearing the location down. So they're in charge of managing the whole location, which again is a very key role. And it's a great place to start potentially as a production assistant for many people to get in to experience that, because when you support the location department, you're supporting a lot of the other departments together. Next is your costume designer. And these aren't in any particular order of importance. All of them are important. The costume designer is especially important because they represent the style, the idea of who these characters are. You have your key makeup artist, obviously the look and what you see on the screen. So those are the people that you're going to need on your team when you go into actual production. We can continue to scroll down to the next phase. And I won't go over this, but I will share this with you guys in the future, like industry terms, some things that while you're in production, and I just share a couple of them because I know we want to talk about some other details, but some industry terms that will help you. One of the things that I always say is what separates doing production kind of like on your own versus getting into the industry is the terminology and the language. A lot of times is understanding certain terms while you're on set and the best way to communicate. Because one of the things that we do in film and being behind the scenes in production is constant communication. You don't want to get lost in that communication. And the more you know going in, it seems like you have more experience and you're more prepared and ready to take on more responsibilities. So sometimes it's just understanding the language of the industry that you're working in. Principal photography, what does that mean? That means the start of your production. So instead of saying our first day of production, we say principal photography. That's the start of your production and the main run of your production from, let's say if it's 16 days, that's your principal photography time. If you have to go back in the future, we call it pickup days, where you have to pick up additional shoot days and get those shots that you may have missed in your principal photography. Call sheet. You all may be familiar with that term. It's very common, but the call sheet really communicates to the whole team during production of who is going to be on set that day, what time it starts, where you need to be, and what we're going to be shooting and filming that day. There's some other terms that go more into detail depending on the department that you're working in, like hot points, apple box, juicer, stinger. Those are some things that you'll hear when you're working in the department, say like with the camera department and the electric, which is your lighting and so forth. So anybody on here that's interested in getting in with your lighting department, there are lots of opportunities. Lighting technicians get paid very well, especially if you're in the union. So, learning how to use the equipment, but also learning the language is great. I'll just go over a couple more, like day player. What is that? Well, if you are in the casting department or you're what we call a second AD, which is the second assistant director, you will be working with your cast. And so we have our lead cast and our principal cast. And then we have some people that come in as day players. They may only work for one day as cast. We also call individuals that work on the crew side day players. We may have a lighting technician that comes in for one day, or a camera operator that is operating the B camera for one day or 2 days. We consider them day players. All of these terms are very important to understand, especially when you are a producer, because that helps you with understanding how you break down your budget. Another term which I love is just magic hour. It's that point of the day where you can get the sunset, and we call it magic hour for a reason, because you only have a short window to get the shot that you want to get during that time, but it comes out beautiful. Again, these are some things that I can share with you all later, but those are just some industry terms and things that you may want to know while you're working on set. We can go on to the next slide. We might skip a couple of slides, keep going. Okay, now I feel like I'm so off the screen and I need to come back on. Are you all able to still see me, Miss Johnny?
Yes, we can still see you.
Okay, good. All right, so I just want to make sure I don't lose you all too much. But now I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that are important when you are producing. These are things that are important when you're working in pre-production and while you're working during production. One of the key things is negotiating. All the people that I just named, prior to this slide, the different individuals that come on as the crew, whether it's a cast member, whether it's your director of photography, you may have to negotiate and work with those individuals in such a way so that they continue to grow with you in your career. So let's say, for example, where you are right now at Heart Smiles, you're at a phase where you are younger, you're in high school, and you are building that team that I talked about. You're building your knowledge, you're building your experience. And as you continue to grow, you might find that you're in a place now where you meet new people. Again, you're building relationships. And with that, you want to get to a place where you're comfortable with negotiating and speaking to people about what you need and what you want. Because at the end of the day, you may not have all of the funds, but if you're able to communicate with people and get people excited to work with you and create a great working environment with those people as you continue to build your career, you'll find that you're able to negotiate and get people to work with you at where you are. So one of the things that I love to share with young people that you can walk away with is like understanding the art of negotiating. It's active listening. So here I am, the producer. I need all of these crew people. I need all of these locations. I need the cast. I need wardrobe. I need to get all this done, but I only have $20,000. Everything that I need to get done probably should be $50,000. So what I have to do is I have an agenda, I have a goal, but I have to get to a place where I can listen to the other people that I'm asking to help me. So if I'm talking to, let's say, Jane, and Jane is one of my peers, Jane is interested in doing artwork, and I see that her skill level is really, really good. So I have listened to her over time to know that she's interested in doing more interior design and being involved in set design. So I've listened to that and I say, listen, Jane, I don't have a really big budget, but I want to build a relationship with you. And I really want to continue working with you because I see that your skills are on point. You're killing it out here. And I think the two of us together can take it and we can really grow together. So I have a conversation with Jane. I listen to her. She tells me what her needs are. And she says, listen, I can only work 4 days a week or 3 days a week on a production because I'm also working a job. So I listen to that and I say, all right, let's make this work. This is what I can pay you. Let's make it happen. So I communicate like effectively about what we are going to get done and gives her the opportunity and the ability to make a decision. And then I find that, you know, in this point, she has been working at a job that she's not super excited about, but she wants to do interior design and set design type work. So now I'm coming in as a problem solver, where you see where it says problem solving. I come in and I let her know that this is an opportunity for her. Hey, Jane, if you don't like the job that you're working, why not take this particular opportunity to work on a production with me and let's make it happen together and grow together. So now I'm solving a problem for Jane. She's solving a problem for me, and we're negotiating together on what we want to get done. I'm not aggressive. I'm assertive and I'm clear about what I want and I have a plan and we get it done. So I like to tell young people that's important. It sounds really simple the way I said it, but you know, take it to real life situation where I'm working on a feature film that I just described, the 3 films that I had to negotiate with a number of people in order to work on that production because I might have had to fly them in from Los Angeles, or I may have had to bring them in from, you know, Georgia, and they might have an opportunity that's bigger in those particular areas. But the way I express it is, hey, we're getting ready to build something here in the Washington, D.C. area. You can be a part of it from the ground up. So a lot of times people would see that as an opportunity. So you have to build those relationships that share and give back and reciprocate with each other. You'll find that as you're doing that with Heart Smiles as well, you know, the people that you're around. Give to others and continue, you know, to give to those individuals that you're working with. That way, when it's time, you know, they're willing to give back to you as well. So now we can go ahead on to the next slide and continue on. That talks a little bit more about it. Okay, I just got a time check. So there's so much more. Usually I love to do these presentations, but usually I have so much more information. Let's continue past the slide and continue past that. One thing where I want to leave off real quick before we wrap up is this, setting up a company. I understand a number of you have the entrepreneurial spirit, and you're just like I was when I was young. I knew from a very early age that I wanted to own my own business at one point in my life. And I didn't know exactly what that meant because my parents, my mom was in education, my dad, had a job. So neither one of them were entrepreneurs. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew that I wanted to eventually be an entrepreneur. So to share with you all at this point where you are young, it's super important to research and understand what it means to set up your own company, because it will help you in the long run in so many ways. And I know that seems sometimes overwhelming, but I'm sure many of you are itching to get to a place where you can have your own business, whether you're still working a job and have your own business on the side. Oh, I had to wrap up, Sharice. Okay. So I say all that to say, do some research and understand what it means to set up an LLC, so that you can set up your business, understand what it means to have contracts, and do some research to understand the legal aspects of setting up that business and the contracts. And then, of course, understanding accounting and the money. We'll go into more detail possibly at a later time where I can share with you about that. But being in film as your creative, being in film as your creative, you also want to understand the business. So make sure you research that and those components. And I think that is my time. I'm getting a message, so I'm going to slow down right there.
No, it's so good. It's so good. But we do have some questions from some heartbeats. But like, I even just learned so much. Like, I think we take for granted what we see on the screen and just forget about all the stuff that happens in the background. I'm back here like, wow, really?
Oh, good, good. I was hoping I could fit in as much information and make it clear as possible.
Oh, listen, I was taking screenshots and everything, especially in some of them slides that you tried to roll past. The ones that had the resource list on there.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'll make sure we share that with you guys then. The resource list of all the different software and things that you can use now.
Yes.
That is right at your fingertips.
Oh my God, thank you so much. But let me ask you some of these questions, because we got Mr. Jamal, who you kind of pointed to, coming up next, and I know his session going to be fire.
Yes.
Marta General says, so far in your career as a producer, what's the most important thing you're looking for when you meet different people?
That's a great question. And I'll tell you why it's a great question, because I tell people all the time, as a producer, the hardest part of my job is working with so many different personalities. So that's really the hardest part of my job, because when you think about it, I'm in charge on a feature film, I'm in charge of at least 60 people on a daily basis. So like my crew might be 40 people, and then I have talent might be 20 people. And then if we have background extras, you're talking about even more. So the people that I interact with is very important to me as far as personalities, and what I look for in people is to understand their ability to work as a team. Like their team work is super important, because film is a team sport, period. Like I can be a producer with all the ideas in my head all day, but without the DP, without the gaffer, without the writer, these things are not going to get complete. And I can try to be all those people, but I'm going to burn myself out at some point. So being a team player is number one. Being adaptable and just like learning how to go with changes, because every day on a film set, something changes. There's something that we have nothing in control of what we try to do, whether it's the weather outside, traffic, that you didn't anticipate, a national disaster. There can be something that's happening that can impact your production on a daily basis. Again, like we could have had a talent that's supposed to fly in, but because something happened with the airlines, there could be a delay, and that could ruin what you had scheduled for the following day. So now you have to adjust everything on your schedule and make it work. So being adaptable, to me, is also just being someone that is not an opportunist. So like that is important to me. Like I pay attention to people that I work with, and eventually I may remove myself or not hire individuals that I see as opportunists, because going back to what I said in the very beginning, it's about building a strong team. And you'll notice people like Spike Lee have worked with the same crew for like 40 years. They become family, and that's what you want. When you look at Ryan Coogler, he continues to use the same people and so forth. So when you're dealing with people that you might see as complete opportunists, now don't get me wrong, we all are trying to grow. But when you see people that are opportunists, they move a little bit different. So it's very important to pay attention to that to me. So team player, adaptable, and just kind of being true and authentic and not like moving with the wave.
Yo, Miss Kid, I need you talking to some of these different projects we got going on, because the same skills and stuff that you talked about are the same skills that's applicable for them as young people working on some of these projects that we have. And I'm like, look, if you can't be a team player with this little project, how you expect to be up somewhere with the big wigs doing it? So
Exactly.
thank you. This question is important, that Miss Mo was asking, because I had at least 3 artists tell me this in like the last month. Her question is, do you ever find yourself with a creative block? And if so, how do you overcome it?
Absolutely. Okay. I think, going through this industry and meeting different creatives and working with different creatives and being a creative myself, I think everybody deals with it different. But we all have faced like a creative block. So I can give you an example. I was working on a project. This was a few years ago, and I had no idea where I wanted to take the project. Like, we had shot it and I just didn't know what I was going to do with it. And what I did is I had to step away from it because I was at a point where I was stressing too hard on the project, and that was continuing to block me from being creative. So I had to step away from that particular project, put it on hold. And as crazy, well, I don't know if this sounds crazy, but I had to kind of go through just a spiritual moment for me. Like, I had to get to a place where I was quiet. I had to kind of meditate. I had to run. And I do these things on a regular basis, but I had to allow myself to just feel in those particular processes to kind of just be quiet and just allow the thought to eventually come to me instead of trying to force the thought out of me. So what ended up happening is, with that particular project, once I set it aside, once I got quiet and just didn't try to force it, I would say, it took like a month later, it hit me at like 4 a.m. And next thing I know, because I can edit too. So next thing I know, I'm up and I'm just going, I'm editing. And when it was done, I was like, that was nothing but God that came through my fingers to get the project complete, because I was trying to force it and it wasn't working. And then finally, when I got quiet and then it just hit me, I knew where I was going with the direction of the project, and I was able to edit it. And I was, very happy with the final outcome. So I think as creatives, sometimes, we can be perfectionists. We can put our pressure on ourselves. There's so many distractions going on in our life. So I would say find an opportunity and a space to just be quiet and allow it to come through you. And then you'll be surprised at what the outcome will be.
And Miss Kia, real quick, because that's so important. Can you kind of describe the difference between what you did versus what some people do, which is just like give up completely and not ever go back to it?
Well, yes. I mean, and that's a good point. There are some projects that you might find that you don't necessarily give up, but you just realize that you have to come back to it much, much later. So I think the important part about it is really understanding how you feel about what you're doing, because the creative part is based on a lot of times about your feelings, and you want to make sure you feel and you're connected to what you're doing. And if you feel like you get to a space where it's just not authentic anymore and it doesn't speak to you, it doesn't speak to your soul, if you have to step away from it and not look back and go on to the next thing, you may need to do that, but you take it as a lesson. And for me, those types of things are, like I said, it's like understanding what speaks to your soul, because you don't want to do something and you find yourself that later on it just really didn't work for you. And I've been in that position where I was working on a project and it really did not speak to my soul. I continued and I completed it, but I said, you know what, moving forward in life, I'm going to choose what is best for me, what's more authentic for me, and not do everything that's just based on an opportunity or based on, making money. So I try to find what speaks to my voice. And I think you'll just continue as you experience different projects and you experience different creative processes, you'll get to a place where you find out what works for you. And you all are so young, heartbeats and things of that nature. You have time to go through, figuring out what doesn't work for you. So you might find a project and you're like, I never want to do a project like that ever again. It could be a music video, a style, or something that you just don't like. And then you move forward. So I think everybody's different in their creative process, and learning what works for you just takes time and experience.
This is such a blessing. We only got about 5 minutes left and so many questions. I promise y'all, we're going to try to get through as many as we can. No pressure, Miss King, but if you could give us like 40-second answers so we can try to go through as many as possible, because they're going to kill us.
Okay.
B says, I'm currently shooting a documentary about COVID, how COVID has affected education in Baltimore City public schools. What advice can you give me on interviewing people and how to look for people to interview?
That is great. Okay, so 40 seconds, boom. So, everybody's experiencing COVID. So I think you're in a great position where you'll have access to so many people now because people are home-based. And instead of having people come out to a location, now you can get your interview at home and you can bang it out in 10 minutes. So doing something like what Miss Joni is doing, where you're doing your interviews possibly through YouTube or different software that you find, like different streaming software, could work very well for you. So I think it's about, one, planning how you're going to use the platform to do your interview. Part of the planning that I've done where I'm doing virtual is I do like a virtual scout, so that I help the person on the other end to make sure that their background looks a certain kind of way, to help them with their lighting, to help them with their audio, so that at the end of the day, you can use that footage in your documentary. You want to make sure that it's a good quality. And then number two is, because you have so much access right now to people, it's about making the phone calls to the principals, to the Board of Education, reaching out to them. You're a young person, you'll get the support that you need, reaching out to your council members, and also finding that your council members that can help connect you to your different people in education, reaching out to the different parents that you know. So now you can build those interviews with educators, with administrators, with parents, and with students. I think you have a great idea, and you have so many resources that you can do. People are home, reach out to them by phone, social media, and email, and you'll make it happen. I hope that answered your question.
That is great advice. Yes, absolutely. And Beats is the one that Miss Sharice has shouted out in her intro, because he holds the weekly music session with our
Good. Yes.
So thank you for that. Queen says, how are you able to adapt to different personalities in your work field? And what advice would you give to someone who really isn't good in doing that? That's a great question.
Well, that is a great question. And it starts with, number one, awareness. So if you're aware of yourself, number one, you're not really good at different personalities. I think you may need to really say to yourself, okay, if I'm not really good at working with a whole bunch of personalities, where would be a great place for me to fit? And I think that's going to take you getting some different experience to know where you fit. So you might try being a producer, and you might realize, hey, I don't like working with a whole bunch of personalities. So being a producer, X that off, that doesn't work for me. But you might find that you're creative, and you get to maybe work with a small team. So you might find yourself being better as a set decorator, because you're more you know, individual. You get to kind of deal with your own ideas and work with a small team versus working with 60 people. You might work with 3 or 4, and those are your close friends. So I think it's about taking what you already know about yourself and getting some different experience, Xing off and eliminating what doesn't work for you, and then finding what you enjoy and sticking with that and building on that. Because there are people in our industry that are introverts, and there are more individuals that like to work by themselves, but within the team, they're still able to get it done. So they still are team players, but they don't have to interact with the whole team at once, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. And we are right at our time.
Okay.
So I got to ask you the last mandatory question. And then if you could do an introduction for us for Jamal, that would be great. But if you had to leave us with one jewel, Ms. Kiel, one jewel, what would that jewel be?
So, I would definitely say that go with your heart and your soul, and pay attention to what your body responds to, you know, and what you enjoy. So if you find that, you know, something just doesn't sit well with you, or something doesn't necessarily work for you and make you happy at the end of the day, then continue to move on to try other experiences until you get to a place of finding an area where you're happy. One thing about film, which I love, there's so many areas that you can take your skills and take your experience and apply it to. So there's so many places where you can fit. And I think it's about happiness at the end of the day. And one jewel that I will walk away with, heart smiles, is, you know, at this age, get into the habit of taking care of yourself. And for me as a producer, I always tell people it's about the balance between taking care of yourself and getting the job done, because our job is very high pressure. So meditate, yoga, eat right, live life, be happy, and let your heart smile.
Yes, we love it. Now, who's this guy coming up? We about to let him tell us about
All right.
this.
So yes, I'm super excited. So of course, you know, when we said we were working with Baltimore, there was no question. The very first person that came to mind was Jamar Jones. Jamar and I have been working together, like I said, through my whole career of being in DC. We've been working together for like the last 13 years, where he started with me at the nonprofit side to all the way to working on the film side. Again, one of those people that you build a strong relationship and grow with. Well, Jamar is killing the game. He's in Baltimore. He has an amazing studio space that he set up. He is getting, you know, contracts, whether they're creative, government. He's constantly bringing in lots of opportunities, and he works with a lot of young people and talent there in Baltimore. But Jamar is one of those people that I look to. He has an amazing eye as a director of photography. His skill set is on 1,000. And so I know if I hire him for something, it's going to look amazing. And then number 2, he's again one of those people that just has that soul, and we connect and we understand each other and we just enjoy working together. So I'm excited to listen and learn for everything that Jamar has in store for us. And I guess we could just bring Mr. Jones on.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kiel. Hey, Jamal.
Hey, Miss Joni.
Man, listen, I'm super excited for you. You know, I went back and watched our tech run again to hear some of the stuff you was talking about with the slate stuff, so I could be prepared for the lesson today.
No cheating, no cheating. You can't give away nothing.
Just a little bit. Look, I'm excited to have you on. I'm going to fade to the background and let you do your thing, but I am here. Welcome, and thank you for being here.
Miss Joni, this is going to be a very interactive presentation, and I need you to be a part of that, because I can't see their comments and things like that. So I need you to jump in. We're going to be going back and forth. This is going to be a tag team back again. You know what I mean?
Don't you even worry. Well, I'm here.
Right.
That's what I do.
Right. I got my own live studio audience in here. We're going to give it up for Miss Kiel one time. We're giving it up for Miss Kiel. We're going to go ahead and start this presentation, though, because I was wanting to jump in very quickly to a lot of things that Kia was saying, because she was just hitting on all these different things. She was talking about things that I've been a part of, and I'm like, especially the Boys and Girls Club thing. I remember that. I remember being on set of that with my first camera, and it's just beautiful thinking about all these things. I just get really excited thinking about the business, thinking about the film. But I want to catch people up to who I am and my story and backstory and stuff like that. So we're going to jump right into it with a quick presentation. And let me know if you guys can see this okay. Miss Joni, you let me know. Is everything good on your end?
Yes, I can see. Oh no. Did you share the screen?
No, no,
We
no,
can't
no.
see a
This
screen share yet.
it's taking in place of me, so you had to make me full screen.
Oh, let me get that done right face. There we go.
Boom. Okay, we're
You
gonna go
on.
ahead and rock. Got it. All right. So this is my company, 6 Point Pictures. So who I am, Jamar Jones, cinematographer, director. And this is a quote that I just like to have. It's at the end of my emails, and I always say it all the time to myself, to my son. You never underestimate the power of possibility. Right? That's something that means a great deal to me, because it got me through a lot of things that allowed me to understand that if something's not happening at this very moment in time, never quit, never underestimate that I can do. So that's something that I always try to remind myself of. So my log line, don't kill me. This is not an exact log line, but if you know what a log line is, it's a quick summary of what a story is about. If you look at the descriptions on Netflix, those are all log lines. So just that's another quick term for you to put into your pocket. But a young boy from Baltimore learns quickly how to maneuver the pitfalls of the streets to become a successful filmmaker and entrepreneur. My career path started off in 1999 when I was a DJ, and that lasted all the way until 2014. As you saw behind me, I have my a portion of my record collection where I still like to dabble in the turntables every once in a while. I also was a music producer in that time between 2003 to 2009. And that DJing and music producing led me to be a part of Morgan State's WEAA 88.9 FM for 11 years. I was there for a long time doing radio producing and things like that at my HBCU. That's where I graduated from, and had a great time there, and it made me who I am today. During my time there, I ended up connecting with some wonderful people, and I started working with Red Bull. And they asked me as a student who was in radio at the time, did I want to create a documentary? And at the time, I had no idea exactly what a documentary was. I knew I watched them before, but I never knew the first thing about making a documentary. And I ended up working with them and creating my very first film called Product of My Environment, where it examined the effects of your environment and does your environment determine your outcome. And that was something that kind of set me off on the right path to begin my film career. And since then, from 2007, when I put that film out, Product of My Environment, I have been a filmmaker till this day in my best Deontay Wilder voice. And y'all know who I'm talking about. So from then I created 6 Point Pictures, which is my company. And my story is wild, but I'm not going to get you with all the details. But I went from a point where I only had $500 to my name, and I ended up moving into my studio in downtown Baltimore, and I ended up turning that $500 into $300,000 a year. So that's something that is very possible for you. If you are choosing to do this and you're really dedicated and borderline obsessed with it, I think that this is something that you can do. And in my time as a filmmaker, I find that my niche, according to Kia, your happy place. My happy place is being a cinematographer, is being a director. So these are some of the companies that I work with: Stars, HBO, ESPN, Fox, Showtime, Disney, BET, and Marvel. These are some of the people that some of the organizations that I filmed for, either with other cinematographers or just by myself. And a lot of these happened within the 2019-2020 timeframe, and I had a really good time working on some things with them, especially Marvel. This is my company. Those are my people. That's my family right there. 6 Point Pictures. And I'm going to kind of keep it moving. But this is a breakdown of my company, just a little bit of a synopsis. I want to give you that for real quick. 6 Point Pictures is a video production company. Our job is to make the creation of your next video a seamless process.
With 6 Point Pictures, it's more than just showing up and pressing record. We value enhancing the quality of your messaging through proper planning and execution.
We don't just try to make beautiful images. We make images with meaning and images with purpose.
It's exciting to work with businesses all around the world to take their ideas from concept to completion.
In every angle, every scene, every edit, we are governed by the intention to demonstrate diversity, not only in front of the camera, but also behind the camera.
We don't dictate your narrative. We become a part of it. And we're here to help you tell your story today.
We got to give it up for an all-black film company in Baltimore, Maryland.
Man, come on.
You know what I mean? So just going to give it up one time. But I did want to break down some of the terms really quickly so that way everybody can understand exactly what it is that I do as a cinematographer and a director. So we're going to go back into the presentation. But a cinematographer, to put it very simply, is a person that's responsible for the processing the intention of the director into a series of shots that expresses the vision of the scene. So I'm gonna say that one more time. The person that's responsible for processing the intention of the director into a series of shots that expresses the vision of the scene. And some of the tools that a cinematographer would use is the camera, the lens, movement, and lighting preferences. Now, those are the things that make a cinematographer so that's what would be sought after. Your preferences, how do you do certain things, how you use the camera, how you use those tools, because not everybody will be able to do the same things that you do. And you finding your style will allow you to set yourself apart from a lot of other people out there with the camera. Everybody that has a phone has a camera, and we're going to get to that a little bit later. And this is a shoot that I did as a cinematographer with ESPN and Natasha Cloud for the WNBA Washington Mystics. This piece, I'm just going to play a quick piece of it.
It's been exhausting to have to constantly be vulnerable with people and to try to explain my feelings as a Black woman in America. And there's nothing that infuriates me more than someone not listening. This is just my raw emotion.
I'm just going to give some commentary over it. This piece honestly was so beautiful because it was taking place during the march that happened on Washington, which was a historic moment and something that, you know, we all should be aware of. And it was just a really good experience to be with such an amazing energy. Natasha's electric behind the scenes and just such a wonderful talent. And I know that Kia could attest to this, that talent, having good talent is extremely important. A person that's a good sport and doesn't mind doing things. She caught a scooter back to the base camp in the rain because traffic was so bad because of the march. She did that in the rain. It was miles. And she was having fun. She was laughing when she was doing it. Look at that. It's raining on her right now, but she was out there in the march because it was bigger than her. She's just an amazing person. So that was a really good experience for myself as well. So going on, director. What's the job of the director? Everybody believes that they know the job of the director, and I'm sure we all do. But this is just a quick, definition in my words of what a director is and does. It is the role of the director to work closely with the talent and crew members to execute the tone, pacing, and energy of the scenes in the script. Now, so we talked about the cinematographer working closely with the director. Now the director works closely with the talent and the crew, the cinematographer being a part of the crew, but it's the tone, pacing, and energy of the scenes in the script. The director has to convey, what does it mean what does this scene mean? What are we trying to say with this? What are we trying to show? And a saying that happens often in script is that you want to show, not tell. You don't always want to say, I am a Black man. You want to show what it means to be a Black man in that particular scene. You want to find the real purpose of that scene. And as you continue to do that, you do that through each shot and each scene. And then eventually the movie will be complete and you'll have a really good finished product from that.
Does that go in line too, Jamal, with those movies that don't have like any words or like verbal stuff?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. A really good example is a film that me and my son watched for the purpose of thinking about dialogue in films is Wall-E. And I know a lot of people saw Wall-E. This was his first time seeing it. Wall-E has very minimal dialogue. However, you could understand every emotion and all of it. You knew who Wall-E was. And this character is personified, right? And it's a robot. But you could see that he felt for love and all these other things. He felt fear and everything else. And you knew what he wanted. And his journey was clear to us, and it was set forth very quickly in the story. So you don't need dialogue all the time. And if that wasn't true, then we wouldn't be able to feel anything and harken back to old silent films, you know, where it was just either a piano playing or something like that. You know, the music. Another thing, you guys are making music. The music is so important into a film because you don't have to say anything if you just create the atmosphere, you know, with the tone and pacing, and then you add in the music, it will all be clear to your audience, you know. So that was a great question.
No, thank you, because you over here connecting it for us.
That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. You know what I mean? I want to show you a quick piece that this is something that I'm working on. It's a short film of mine, and this is just some of the behind the scenes. And it's just, you know, we can talk over it. It's not a big deal. I just wanted to show you some of the emotions that you go through. You want to be able to communicate with your crew clearly. You know, your vision of what needs to happen. This is just me directing with our camera operator Kirby Griffin. And our talent, Tim Zukas.
Wow.
So yeah, this is just some quick shots of the this is just some of the quick shots from the behind the scenes thing that we did for the short film entitled 1111 that I'll be bringing out hopefully very soon. So yeah. But I want to ask a quick question, Ms. Joni. You got to help me out. I know some people in the chat right now who wants to make music videos. I need to know who wants to make music videos.
You about to put the chat on fire with this.
I just need to know real quick. You know what I mean?
We see Tay-Bans. Yes. Lene, she's like, you done made her have to get back on the stage. My man's Beats, you know, he run the music situation every week for us. Oh, yes. Yeah, you got one going. She said me with a whole bunch of E's behind it.
Me. Good. So that's a few people in the chat that definitely want to make music videos. And the thing is, we already know you want to make music videos because it is like the ultimate version of a film. You get to put every technique of creativity in there in such a short amount of time. For the same reason why I love commercials. I love shooting commercials because you have to find a way to tell a compelling story in 30 seconds. That is extremely hard to do. And there are commercials out there that I bet everybody can remember. Even if it's just a commercial with a jingle, you can remember that commercial. So it told the story. It got the message across to you in 30 seconds. And music videos can do the exact same thing. And we all relate and resonate with music videos. This is a piece that I shot, that I directed with a local artist by the name of Greenspan. You can go and follow Greenspan 410 on all platforms, I believe, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Amazing artist. I'm not going to play the music though, because this is not the censored version. So We're gonna keep it PG. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, this is some beautiful visuals. Also on the camera was Akio Evans, another amazing Baltimorean, is an artist, and he does painting and painting of shoes and different clothing and things like that. Very, very beautiful set that we were on. And TT the artist, who's on this another amazing, talented Baltimore artist. So yeah, and this has club music in it too, so you know I'm extra proud. But
oh yeah.
So yeah, but we're gonna keep it going. So we got a quick question for the group. What is the rule of thirds? What is the rule of thirds? We're gonna play one of your beats. We're gonna play one of your beats in the background while we're just gonna give them about, I don't know how long, Miss Joni, like 30 seconds to give us some answers.
Yeah, 30 seconds is good. You know, we
Okay.
working with like a 9-second delay. So by the time they hear this, we 10 seconds ahead of our conversation.
Okay. Well,
so
I got the question up right now. So let me go ahead and read it off. What is the rule of thirds? A math equation used for building a camera? B, a technique used by camera operators to create interesting shots? C, a production term used to create the schedule for the day of shooting?
Give them 9 Tay-Ban said B. Sharon said B. Marta General said B. Beat said B.
Okay.
Who else? Naeem said B. Are y'all just jumping on the bandwagon, or y'all really know?
They might be jumping on the bandwagon.
Angela said B. You might be.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and reveal it for everybody that said B. You got the right answer. All right, yeah. The rule of thirds is a technique used by camera operators to create interesting shots. Now, what does that actually look like, and what does it mean? This man right here, when you see the rule of thirds applied, they're using this. It may not be on the screen all the time, but we're going to get to that in a second. But you see that we have this man right here where he is in between the middle thirds and the left thirds, where you see these 9 squares on the screen. He's in between those, the far left 6 of the squares, right? What does that mean? He's looking up and off to my right of the screen, where that's considered his looking space. I know you can't see my mouse, but the direction that he's looking is his leading space. And as a cinematographer, you can utilize giving that person more or less space to create a certain mood. If a person is supposed to feel trapped or something like that in a scene, they would be up against the right side of the screen, looking towards the edge of the frame. But since he's all the way to the left, looking right, he has a lot of space, and he's looking up as well, which gives us a more positive feeling, where the camera's also below him, looking up at him, which is empowering as well. So that's a powerful look. And literally, if you use the terms, I look up to you, right? What does that mean? That's a powerful and a inspirational thing, right? So that's something that that this camera operator or cinematographer has done with this particular shot. Remember, your scene, you should be able to pause your movie, your film, or your shot, and it should still have a story. A picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So in film, there's 24 pictures per second. So got more questions for you. Did you know that you don't have to have a fancy camera to start working with the rule of thirds? You might not have known that. And I heard that a lot of you guys are still just working with your phones to create stuff. Maybe you're filming, maybe you're just doing photos and things like that. But, you know, I particularly don't know too much about Android, but I know that there is a war going on, and you know, who are the iPhone users versus the Android users out there. I mean, I know I'm probably calling somebody out. I can't see the chat. They probably dogging me out right now, but I am team iPhone. I'm sorry to say. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, if you are team iPhone with me, welcome, family. And I want to show you that you can put the rule of thirds on your phone and start utilizing that framing technique that we just talked about on your phone. And then we're going to look at some other stuff. But I want you to see this really quickly. By the way, that's my beautiful 11-year-old young man right there. And if you go into your settings and then go into camera, click up, and then you scroll down and you go to composition and turn grid on. Then once you come out of that and go into your camera, you'll immediately have the grid and you can apply the rule of thirds. Now, does that necessarily apply when you are using the camera or the phone in the vertical position? I'm sure that it still can, but it's not necessarily designed in that way. And I think that you should think about how to creatively break that rule, because every rule in film is not necessarily a rule. It's more so a guide for you to be able to allow your creativity to get down the end of the lane. Let's think about it this way. If you've been bowling and you're not really that good, what do? They give you the bumpers, right? The bumpers are the guide to get that ball down the lane in order to hit your target, which is the pins, right? So you can learn these rules, and then once you really learn them, and only once you learn them, then you can start to bend them and maybe break them. So that's something that you guys should think about. I'm not going to get too deep into the rule of thirds because of time. And I promise you that we could talk about this stuff 4 hours. I got my tea right here. We could keep going for real. So you should, because you're already on YouTube, you should, after this, of course, don't trip. You should go ahead and subscribe to Studio Binder. I love Studio Binder. Studio Binder is not just a page on or channel on YouTube where they teach you stuff like this, which is about composition and the rule of thirds. It's such beautiful content, but it's also software that you can use to type your script, that you could use to do your scheduling, that you could use to do your location scouting. It has so much in there for you, and they have free options as well. So it's something that's a tool that you can use. It is it's one of the industry standards. It is very powerful, and I think it will take you from amateur to pro in such a short amount of time, because we were working with Excel spreadsheets to do a bunch of stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. So another question for you, Miss Joni, what is this? Do you know what this is? Who in the chat know what this is?
That's a slate.
That's a slate. Yes. And how do you use a slate? That is the big question. It's a lot of people that I mean, even I know that are great shooters and things like that, but they have no idea how to do that because that's not necessarily their ministry, and that's okay. You know, they might be a cinematographer, or they might be in sound or whatever. If they're in sound, they actually should know how to do this, but the slate is normally the role of the second AC to do, and that's my son's role when we're on set together. He is our second AC, and I'm going to play something. I want you guys to take this away. This is Tutorial Tuesdays, where we talk about, this is actually on my channel, Jamar Jones DP on YouTube. I just made this and uploaded all this stuff just for you guys. So please go ahead and follow me on that, subscribe to the page and all that, so you can see all 9 episodes of Tutorial Tuesday, where you can learn as much as possible about film production and the small things like how to do slate properly. So I want to give you guys this Tutorial Tuesday, and we're going to come back right after that. I'm gonna just bring it up in the screen like this, you know. Well, if you're going to be a part, you can't hit me in the face with it. So today we're going to learn how to use a slate. The main purpose of the slate is to help you synchronize the recording of the camera and the audio in post.
Victor to the Apple Baker, take 4.
So when you see the slate clap on camera, you will match it up with the spike in volume in the waveform you see in your NLE, or your non-linear editing system. It seems easy, but there is a wrong way and a right way to do this. But here's a cheat code. The slate is essentially a whiteboard, and it's easy to wipe off your information. So writing your information on tape and then putting it on the slate will ensure that your information will last all day. By the way, you may have more than one setup for a shot for each scene, so it should take on letters next to the scene number, such as scene 2A, 2B, and 2C, etc.
freaks. Assassino, fangulo, strangulato, spaghetti, tortellini.
Just be careful not to use I's and O's because they could look like ones and zeros next to the number. If you're looking at this in post, it could throw everything off and confuse your editor. Another one that changes often is the take, which is the number of times that you have recorded a particular scene. So there are different ways for slating to camera, and such as MOS or motor only sync. An easy way to remember this is mute on sound, meaning that there is no sound for this particular scene. And when you slate, it looks like this. And you're telling the editor there is no sound to sync, so they are not looking for it, they don't think that it's lost, and they understand that this is just a take with only video. It could be rude or distracting to your talent, or even take them out of character when you close the slate too hard in front of them. So another way to do this is called soft sticks. However, if people are talking over you and it's loud, or if it's traffic or something's happening where they couldn't hear you, then you need to say the words second sticks. This happens when you're out of frame or if someone's talking over you and they miss the information that's being called on the slate. And you need to ask permission for second sticks, or someone in the sound department may ask you to do it again. My personal preference, if it's dark and I don't have a backlit slate, I like to shine a flashlight on the information so the camera can read it. But what if I don't have a slate?
That's you. That's what you sound like.
Then you need to invest in yourself and get a slate for $30 to $50 from Amazon or B&H like this, or even less than that, and go to Party City and get something for like $3 to $5 to $10 or whatever like this. But in the meantime, you could just use your hands, which work just as good, but you lack the information that the slate has when you use your slate hands. If you like this information, please share it, comment, and ask questions. And stay tuned for the next Tutorial Tuesday.
All right. That was Tutorial Tuesdays, Miss Joni. I want to remind you guys that I have a lot more information on Tutorial Tuesdays where we cover everything from C-stands to call sheets. Now, if you don't know what a call sheet is, that is the sheet of information that you get to tell you when and where to be for your shoot. It's been many of days where I would be lost and or late in the early part of my career because I did not get a call sheet, or I got it at 5 in the morning. It doesn't help to not send one out or to get one very late. So if you guys are wondering what a call sheet is and how to read it, because sometimes that can be daunting, I think you should check out Tutorial Tuesdays on my page, my channel on YouTube, Jamar Jones DP. So yeah. I mean, and don't be afraid to ask questions. You know, if somebody invited you somewhere, don't be afraid to ask questions. I remember one time I was shooting for Showtime very early on with the camera that I now own, the Arri Alexa Mini. I had no idea how to press play on it to play back the media. And I was like ashamed because I shoot, but I never shot with that because I don't know anybody that owns this camera. This camera is very expensive. It's over $75,000 to own this camera. And that's just the camera itself. That's not including the media. That's not including the lenses or anything like that. So to have access to it, to just rent it, it costs around $2,000 a day with all the trims and the fixing and stuff like that. So I didn't have $2,000 a day to rent it to figure out how to use it. But long story short, I'm fast forwarding over a lot of stuff. I ended up finding a way to buy it. And I ended up, that was a very good business play as well. I would love to talk about business at any other point in time, but I know we are strapped for time. And I don't know if there was any questions before we move on to the next part. Miss Joni, we're going to do a small exercise for the people that do have some NLEs, some terminology from the thing.
Let's do it. And then you got about 8 minutes till we get into your Q&A.
All right, cool. Let's go ahead and jump into this then. I'm just going to go ahead and switch over to our editing platform. Now, it is my understanding that you guys are possibly editing in different platforms, but this one is Adobe Premiere. And here's one thing I want to say to you, something that a friend of mine told me a long time ago. It's nothing but a tool. Between Avid, Final Cut, Adobe Premiere, Sony Vegas, DaVinci Resolve, iMovie, They're all tools. If you can put and also on your phone, because we're talking about phones too, Adobe Premiere Rush. You can get all of these things in different platforms on different devices. Right now, you're looking at this on my laptop, and I have desktops, I have all kinds of stuff, and you guys have a phone, so there's no limitations. Remember, never underestimate the power of possibility. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to import some media because we're going to sync some footage real quick. So let's go ahead into our hard drive where you should have all of your stuff properly stored, and we're going to go into our footage, and we're in day 1, and I'm going to go ahead and already pre-selected this one. We're going to use this clip right here, and we're going to find the audio for it. Now, is it audio already on the clip? Yes, but that's the audio from the camera. The audio in the camera is not necessarily the best. Now we want to look at our clip to figure out exactly which audio we need to be looking for. So the audio that we're looking for should be on what, Miss Joni? The slate.
The slate.
The slate. So if we look at the slate right here, it says, if you can see my mouse, V8 Harris, and that over there is the take 2, right? So now let's go back and let's go find our audio, right? So now, if you have a good sound technician on set, all of your takes should be labeled. And I did. And look at that, V8 Harris take 2, right? So we want to go ahead and bring that in there, right? Now we have our audio and our video. Okay. And this applies to phones as well, especially to phones, because you might have a separate audio recording device from your phone. You might not be recording audio directly into the phone, which I suggest if you're using a phone, I would suggest doing the double system like that. Now, the next thing we want to do, we want to find out when he closes this slate, right? And I'm gonna make sure the volume is up for you. So he's going to call slate, right? Right now, after he did that, and that was what we were talking about called second sticks. Now that right there, we need to go in and mark in our waveform where the slate closed. You can barely see it, and that's the difference between the audio in the camera and the audio in the recorder. So we're gonna listen to it. V8 Harris, take 2. Like that little clip right there, and we want to mark that point right there. That's when he closed it. Let's go back to the video. It should be closed right there. See that? Okay, so now let's go ahead and get into our audio. We're going to take this down first into our sequence, and it starts right there. We'll make this a little bit bigger for you guys, and we're going to go into our audio now. Look at that. Those waveforms are so much bigger. Now let's get a little bit in there. Now 8 Harris, take 2. It's already louder, right? That's because this microphone is much closer in proximity to the talent and to the second AC who is doing the slate. And you can actually see right here where the slate closes. Now let's watch. V8 Harris, take 2. Slate. Right. So now we're looking for that, right? That sound right there. We're going to zoom in. You can see it. Look like a little snare drum, right? And we're going to mark that endpoint right there. We're going to zoom back out, come back out of that. And we're going to drag this down and sync it up, and it should be aligned with the audio that's on the camera and the audio that is in the recorder. Now let's play it.
Some of Coppin's top programs include education, nursing, bio.
Okay, so that sync, you know, this is what I do. So it happened pretty easily and quickly. And there's software that allows you to do this, but I never use that software because sometimes it's not as accurate. And I like to make sure that I don't have to do things twice. Now, imagine if it was off just one frame. I'm just going to take this and move it one frame off, right? Now, if you didn't get it exactly on, it'll sound something like this.
Some of Coppin's top programs include education.
Right. You hear the difference. It is starting to split. If you got a stereo system, and even if it's off 3 frames, it'll sound like this.
Nursing, biochemistry.
You see that she's coming before herself, right? So we want to make sure that it doesn't sound like that. So now you know what it sounds like when it's not synced. So you can be prepared for when it is, and you can just continue to.
Some of Coppin's top programs include.
Continue to do your edit from there. So Miss Joni, that is taking your footage and taking your audio and syncing it together. I cut out so much of my presentation because I wanted to show you guys how to organize your folders, because that's something that's so important that people don't realize that they need to do beforehand in order to make sure that they have a good file structure and good organization for their project moving forward. Because it's so often that you lose stuff and you don't know where it is. That's because you didn't start with a good file structure. So maybe we can get into that some other time.
We're going to have to, because this was so good. I mean, like, wow. Your chat is going off, like, no question about it. People were saying how informative this is. They taking screenshots. They done snuck over to sign up for your YouTube and all that.
That is
I'm
what's
so
up.
happy about it.
We got to give it up. Live studio audience.
Yo, it's just so much love. Shine wants to know, and I think this one is interesting too. Can you talk about some more free or student price video editing software that people who are just starting out can use? And she said she's a green person. She droid.
Oh no!
I know. I was so embarrassed to even say it.
Green text. It's okay though. We still love you. Free software. I can't point out anything for the phone that's on the Android app system, but as far as free, I do know that YouTube actually mentioned having a platform that you could do some small edits to your videos. Is it as intuitive and as detailed as a Premiere? Definitely not, but that is a free option out there. I do also know you have if you do have an iPhone, that it comes with iMovie as well for free. So that's another way that you can edit your videos. I do want to say this. I always say at the end of you watching those Tutorial Tuesdays, I'm going to say invest in yourself a lot. If you know somebody that is a student in college, if you are a student in college yourself, you have a student email, you can go ahead and get the biggest discount of all with Adobe. And you can get, instead of paying for the entire suite, like hundreds of dollars, you can, and this is a subscription, you can get the subscription per month way cheaper. It's like $10 a month for the entire thing. So it's and you can have all of the Photoshop and Lightroom and Adobe Premiere and all that stuff. So don't sleep on that as well. But you can also get the free trial, and that should last you for I think another 30 days. So that's an opportunity for you to do that as well. So those are the things that I would suggest doing, because it's going to throw you into Lions Den quicker and get you some really good experience working with the more industry standard things. Remember, you do want to spend some time getting your feet wet, but you need to go ahead and jump off that ledge, because squeaky wheel don't get the oil, or whatever. So you need to go ahead and do that and just jump right in there, so that way you can start working with people like Kia, working with people like myself and 6 Point Pictures. So if I need an assistant editor that can just organize the files, the ergonomics of this platform. So get your feet wet, but go ahead and jump into the real stuff as soon as you can.
Yes, I love it. Naeem wants to know, is there any snippet that you can share with us from some of the Marvel stuff that you did? We know it's a lot of like copyright stuff that go along with that, but he said, is there any?
It is copyright stuff, because I've found a snippet on YouTube, but it's hard because Disney Plus keep it on lock. My son and I just watched it the other day because he asked me, like, what is some of the stuff you filmed? And I showed him that. And but it really isn't anywhere to be found unless you got a Disney Plus, which is kind of disheartening. But no, I can't show you that unless we log into that, and we might get shut down. So I'm sorry.
It's all good. They're gonna watch your tutorial, so you can just tell them which ones to go to if they're a subscriber.
Definitely, yeah.
I bet. Oh, this is a cool one. How did you land your first big gig? Can you tell us what that was?
I think what I consider my first big gig was when I was hired to do two commercials for laureate education in Paris. And everybody from around the way was like, yo, he going from Park Heights to Paris. And that was a big
Right, that's what I'm
deal.
about to say.
Yeah, that was a big deal. This was actually in 2015, and they paid for everything. And it was just so beautiful. I literally bought a camera just for that. And I had to travel light. My big gig, how I got it was just networking. I was making my way through the arts community in Baltimore. A person that I was working with doing some film stuff for free ended up leading me to a conversation with a woman named Miriam, and she said, "Look, I'm trying to do some film stuff. I'm not a shooter. I need a shooter." And I said, "I'm a shooter." And next thing you know, we start doing some stuff. She said, "How would you like to go to Paris?" I said, "What?" So yes, ended up going to Paris, shot 2 commercials, and to this day, it's been some of the most beautiful stuff that I shot, and a great experience. So I was very thankful and humbled by that as well, because I was challenged. I didn't sleep the entire time because I had to constantly make sure I was like prepped and had all my stuff, because I was a one-man band too. So that was a really hard shoot to do. I had to do everything. I had to pack all the stuff. Everything had to fit in one backpack, because otherwise you're going to need a visa to shoot overseas if you have a bunch of equipment. So we had to get around that by using all DSLRs. So yeah, that was a great moment. But the only reason I got it is by networking and making myself available, by doing stuff like this, and introducing myself to the heartbeats. So now you guys know who I am. So that's exactly what you have to do. You have to be out there. You have to go where the people are.
Wow. And was this, because I heard you say that this happened in 2015, was this like during the Freddie Gray riots? Or did this happen before?
No. That was after. I was in an editing session with another client, and my phone was going crazy. So it was not during the riots. But yeah, so that was a moment, because I was in Bethesda. I wasn't even in Baltimore in the moment. And then I had to come back home, and it was crazy. And we got right to work, and we started filming. We started filming for Revolt and all kinds of other companies. So it went from work to work to work.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. Naeem wants to know what made you decide to want to film and work with other companies.
Well, the film industry, for my type of work that I like to do, which is commercials, and you see documentary stuff, and you saw the piece that I just did with Coppin, which is their first virtual open house. You got to understand that this portion of the industry is B2B, right? Is business to business. Is not business to consumer. If you're doing films, then you have to think about the business to consumer aspect of it, depending on what end of the business that you're in. But it is all business to business for me. And maybe I would say 85% of the work that I do. So that's what made the decision to work with other companies. If that's the kind of question that he was asking, it was Naeem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if that's the kind of if that's the question that he was really asking, I could take that another way. Would maybe want to work with other businesses as a cinematographer. Again, you want to go where the people are. The reason why I purchased an Arri Alexa Mini is because it has so many Oscar nominations. It allowed me to move in certain crowds and have certain conversations. Being at Sundance, saying I'm a cinematographer. Oh, what do you shoot with? I have an Arri Alexa Mini. Oh yeah, you do. That's what I love to shoot with, because that's an industry standard. So it allowed me to go where the people are and have different conversations. So that allowed me to work with other companies like Showtime. Back when I didn't understand even how to press the play button. But now I can go shoot for Showtime, and since that day, I've been shooting with stars and all kinds of companies from there.
Wow. So amazing. Mar the General, he says, Mr. Jamar, I want to be an actor. I've been acting since I was young, and I'm very passionate about it. I did so many films and so many plays. How do you think I can get more opportunities?
The first thing I want to say is you have to be okay with the sacrifice of no sleep, no pay, in order to in order to get your name out there. And remember the good talent thing that I was talking about before. You have to be a pleasure to be around, you know. So being out there, I think, and also you have to be okay with the thing. You might have to move. You might have to go to California for 6 months. You don't have to live there forever. You might have to go to Atlanta for 6 months. You might have to live in New York for 6 months or a year or whatever, you know. You might have to go overseas. So it's something that you should just start to consider the possibilities of what those things could yield. But going where the people are, you know, where is all the work happening? It's a lot of work happening here, but I can guarantee you that in Hollywood, it's more. In Atlanta, where a lot of studios are, it's more. So you should be able to be okay with saying, okay, I'm going to go ahead and see if I got a cousin or something in Atlanta. Let me go ahead and sleep on your couch. I'll pay you back. I'm gonna go get a job. Like Kia said, she was a waitress and she was doing some other stuff. You have to do that. And I didn't tell my whole story, but when I got my studio with that $500, I was sleeping on the floor. There's no couch, no nothing. But I had my floor, my blanket, and I had my computer to edit. And I booked my first client that helped me pay my rent, that put some money in my pocket, and so on and so forth. So, you know, like you have to be okay with making those hard choices because you are the CEO of your life.
So inspiring. Miss Mo says, how do you incorporate you in everything that you do? In other words, what is your personal stamp on your work? I love this question.
That's how much time we got? Because
Man,
that's a lot. That's a lot, Miss Joni.
I know.
I think the best way to answer this is that you can only fully understand that over time and consistent self check-ins. You have to check in with yourself. And like I just said, you are the CEO of your life, right? So if you're the CEO of your life, the CEO runs the business. The business has a business plan. What's your plan? What's your goal? If you know that, then you can check in with yourself and say, okay, I want to be the illest sound technician this side of the Mississippi. Okay, then what does it take to do that? And then 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, does it, what Kia said, make you happy? Is it making you happy? Is it fulfilling? Do you wake up? I wake up every day at 5 a.m. Even though I don't want to sometimes, I do, because I can't wait to start researching more about film, looking at what I didn't understand before. Right now, I'm looking at different conversations about existentialism. Why? Because it plays a role in the film that I'm writing. I'm obsessed with what I'm doing. So you have to do that. You have to do those things. I hope I answered the question. I went into a different space just now.
You touched our soul with that. Somebody please put that quote in the chat for me. I can't do it right now, but put that quote in the chat. Like, oh, you hitting us over here on all cylinders. This is a great question too. What's some advice you can give to Black African-American children and teenagers that want to get involved in this industry?
Oh my God, that is hard. Call Kia. Call Kia. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Call Kia. I think that we are blessed in this day and age to be able to see a Black Panther, to be able to see movies like Us and Get Out, because there's a wave and there's genres on the platforms now, such as Netflix and Hulu and whatnot, called Black stories. They are starting to notice the Black dollar even more and admit it. That wasn't something that happened before. As a Black person, there are more opportunities to be able to be you in films, where in yesteryear they would have cast your Black role to someone else. So I think that you have to continue to search. I don't have any specific locations, but I think, again, you have to go into the networking. You got to be relentless with your research and finding out who's doing what. Instagram is a weapon. And you can literally type in a hashtag, cinematography, cinematographer, right? Director of photography, which is the same thing as a cinematographer. whatever. You can type in local director or Baltimore director or whatever, and as a hashtag, and see who's been posting that. Those cinematographers will say that, you know, in their hashtags. You can contact them directly. I connected with a colorist, and we can get into that later, but I met a colorist, a person who colors the films to make it look pretty, and somebody in LA, and she liked my work on Instagram, and then we ended up connecting, right?
Wow.
So that's something that can happen, and it's so easy because you're already there for the same reason. You have to go where the people are, right? So if you can't get out your house, it's COVID, you have to use social media as your weapon, as your arms, as your legs, as your resume, right? And watch what you post as well. So, you know, those are the things that I suggest you do, is to get out there and connect with the people that are doing the work, you know.
Wow. It's about 10 people that said, how can they get connected with you? They want to connect with you.
Yo, man, Miss Joni, if you want to give my information, you totally can. You can give my email, and I'm free to answer all the questions or whatever, you know. So, and if it's something coming up, something going on, I'm sure kids gonna let me know what's going on. So yeah, we're gonna do something. We're gonna link.
I got you. And look, they already know how I do. I'm only giving your email to people I will put my name on, people who've been consistent.
I believe you.
Everybody ain't getting it. I'm telling you now, you gotta work for it.
Yep. There you go. There you go.
Man, we are completely out of time, but I gotta ask you our last question, which is like mandatory for everybody.
I'm gonna play your instrumental from one of your people under us. This is the Roses. I don't know who made it, but you can shout them out. We're gonna play this as we go out. What's the question?
Yes, I love that so much. The question is, if you had to leave us with one jewel, what would it be?
Be relentless. Be fearless. Be fearless. Not trying to sound like Nipsey too much, but you have to be fearless. You can't be afraid to fail, because failure is a part of the journey. In order to understand how to make corrections to yourself and to your journey, you have to fail fast, right? So get in there, get out there, figure out where you're hitting the wall, figure out where you're going wrong, and make that correction very quickly and on your own. Be a self-starter. Don't wait for somebody to tell you that you was late. Don't wait for somebody to tell you that you need to do X, Y, and Z. Do it on your own. If you know you got to do it, don't procrastinate. Just get right to it and be relentless about it. Be relentless about your learning. Be a student of the craft. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you, Mr. Jamal. This was so inspiring, so powerful. You family, connected for life. Thank you so much.
Definitely. And I'm going to say I need one of those hoodies too. I see you rocking it in every video, and I'm kind of jealous. So I'm going to holler at you offline about getting one of those. If you got merch for sale, I'm going to support.
Thank you so much. I got you. Yeah, you know what? I don't even sell these. That's how you know if somebody got one of these, they got it from me.
All right, personally, it's going to be a direct sale, and I'll be the first one. I'm the first one. I love it.
Thank you, Mr. Jamal. We appreciate you so much. Can't wait to do more of this. And just thank you for pouring into our Heartbeats today. The chat is going off on fire like right now. Everybody's saying thank you. I learned so much. This is so great. This was amazing. I'm inspired. Like, thank you.
Awesome. I'm around. I'm going to get back in the chat. If we're going to keep going, I'm in there. So y'all can hit me up in there too.
We about to get ready to close it up. Matter of fact, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to invite Miss Sharice back on, and then we're going to close out for the day. You enjoy your Saturday, but thank you for spending time with us.
All right. Take it easy.
All right. Miss Sharice.
Miss Joni.
Oh my God.
Kia and Jamar. I mean, back to back 2 hours.
Powerhouse.
Powerhouse. And this is a perfect example of teamwork. Okay. When we got the call that this was happening, this was about everyone pouring in, all of the partners. Kia, thank you so much. She is our GFS heartbeat and soul in the DMV area, and she pulled Jamar right in. And as you can say, what I keep hearing in my mind is this amazing voice, which is be relentless. You know, Mr. Jamar said it. Don't be afraid to put your shot forward. It's time for your stories. So I really am so excited that they both really gave some amazing jewels, information, and more importantly, shared their personal story about how it really is to work together as a team and stand up for each other. And that's how I feel about being here with you, Miss Joni.
Yes. Oh my.
You're quite the team.
Man, listen. Listen, we doing this thing. And I'm so happy because the winner is our heartbeats. They won in this whole situation because of what we did. They won. And now somebody is going to be able to do something different because of what they learned today. And like, that's just so powerful.
Absolutely. I am over the moon. And, you know, there's so many people that help to make this possible. But I have to just really pour into you, Miss Joni, and to your partner, Miss Mo, on the chats. The way you stand up for the commitment and the excellence, you know, for all the young people who are here with us and all the young people who are going to find out about this information down the line. You know, it really is a beautiful example of what it means to be loved and to be supported and to really create space for young people. So it's just been such an honor to work with you and your team, with Chaz and Christina. When I heard the beats flowing and all that good music, we're here because these young people, you're all so excellent, and we can't wait to do more. We can't wait.
We got to do this again.
What's next? That's right. And, you know, I have a couple of notes here because Jamar, I mean, he really put on for all of us with his amazing resources in his YouTube channel. So we want to make sure we get those links out there for all of the heartbeats and the living classroom students. For Kia and her producing the Dream curriculum, she has plenty of wonderful resources that we will get directly to you, Ms. Joni, to get to the young people. And yesterday you shouted it out, Akashinga. Our friends at Nat Geo, I love Miss Courtney Monroe. We've worked with Nat Geo at Ghetto Film School for years now, and they really believe in our storytellers, all of our storytellers. And so I really hope people go into the chat and check out the Akashinga film and all of those resources that are there through National Geographic. And then, you know, I have to plug GFS and film credits. We have volumes of master classes free for everyone to take advantage of. You know, that relentless research, it's within all of us. The time that we're in gives us the opportunity to go and learn more and also share our stories. So I am so grateful.
Yes.
For everyone who made this possible, all of our friends at Bloomberg, our wonderful captain, Miss Nanette Smith, who rallied. I mean, there are so many people that made this possible.
We call her the Baltimore Angel.
She is an angel indeed. And to Chaz and to Christina in Living Classroom, to our friends at Tribeca with those beautiful films. And you know, I need one of those sweatshirts, Miss Joni. I'm just gonna put it out there. Heart smiles, you are forever in my heart, wherever I am, New York, LA, Brooklyn, and Baltimore. Just so honored to work with you and to bring so many partners together to celebrate the young people of Baltimore.
I want to do a video, Miss Sharice. I want to do a short film on Heart Smiles.
Yes. Well,
I got to. Let's do it. I got to.
We have so many talented people to work with right here in Baltimore. So for Baltimore, by Baltimore, let's get it done.
All right. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. It's overdue. And now just seeing this, I'm like, wow, I have to. We got to.
It's the time is now. So I just thank everyone for pouring in to make this a 2-day event that will continue to be with us for a long time. We'll continue to unpack it. We're so grateful to be on the Heart Smiles platform because everyone can benefit from this learning and from this partnership. And most importantly, we get to pour love into the young people who are our future. Thank you all.
Yes. Thank you so much, Miss Sharice.
Thank you, Miss Joni. I'm so
It's been a
honored.
blessing. Love you much, my BFF.
Love you. I mean,
I'll be talking to you soon.
We'll see you soon.
Yes.
Happy holidays. And all the love and gratitude to all the heartbeats and the young people. We love you all.
Yes, thank you. We love you more. See you, Miss Sharice.
Love you most. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye. Y'all, what a great day. What a great 2 days. I told you guys that it was going to be amazing. Hey, listen, I know y'all want to connect with Mr. Jamal, with Miss Kia. I'm going to get y'all connected, but I'm telling y'all now, y'all know how I do. I'm only connecting them with the people who have shown consistency, dedication, and the people who have shown discipline with this. They are experts in the field, y'all, and they serious about what they do. So hopefully this has given some folks the inspiration and the motivation that you need to get yourself disciplined so that you can take your craft to the next level. It's not about leaving anybody behind. We want everybody to come with us, but you got to make sure that you're ready, because once I put my name on you, it's a certain level. It's a certain level of professionalism and a dedication and commitment that people are going to be looking for. And I don't mean nobody coming back like, hey, Miss Joni, this person ain't do this. Miss Joni, this person ain't do that. No, no, and no. We want to come, we want to show up, and we want to show up right. But I appreciate y'all for being here. And really just a sincere thank you to every heartbeat, to every partner, to every friend who shared their Saturday afternoon with us today. Think about it, y'all. Even in the midst of a global public health crisis, you showed the world that bright lights are still shining in Baltimore and that young people in Baltimore are worth the investment. Thank you so much to our wonderful instructors, Ms. Kia Freeman, Mr. Jamal Jones. Today would not have been possible without your leadership and your willingness to share your talent and to share your experiences with us. Thank you both so much. Thank you to Ms. Sharice for sharing these two amazing spirits with us. You are definitely my BFF. Thank you to our Bloomberg family who generously supports our work to find creative ways to invest in our heartbeats. Thank you to our friends at Tribeca Living Classrooms for your wonderful partnership and support. And thank you to our heartbeats, y'all. I hope somebody found value in today's session. I hope somebody is going to take something from today and commit to making it a bigger part of your vision. I hope that at least one person is going to renew their commitment to success and rededicate themselves to a higher purpose. So I'm looking forward to seeing you, whoever you are, at the top of this mountain that we call success. All right, y'all. Miss Joni, I'm out.